everybody.
Good
Good
morning.
afternoon. Good morning. Good morning for you. Good afternoon for me.
Yes.
Can somebody that's down in chat just let me know how my sound is because I am doing the two worst things. I am on my cell phone. I am charging, but I found my decent headphones. So hopefully I don't sound like a crackling mess. So if somebody can just let us know. And I hope everybody had a good weekend. I'm just getting ready for
Yes.
Turkey Day.
I cannot wait. I'm so sad I didn't get to see your that function, not the function, but the what you were telling me about.
Or
Like
the
the cooking for the
presentation.
holidays.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
presentation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to direct anybody to where that is other than in private because I don't want anybody snooping for it and finding it. But
Right.
I don't even know if it's. I mean, it might be out there still. I don't know. But hey,
Mm-hmm.
Heather. Hi, Pam. Hi, Meow. Let's see, Chicky. Bartender, I think's here. She
Hey,
might have been here
Heather.
earlier. I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah.
sorry I changed the time again, guys. I was going to go earlier, then I got caught up. I was doing like some online shopping stuff, and I was trying to check out a JCPenney's. I got caught up. And then, people have been in and out of the house, so I just want to make sure that a little bit that the toddler was distracted.
Yeah.
Oh, good for you, Pam.
Yeah. Okay, let's see.
So basically, I've been sort of in and out around the YouTube streets. Oh, finding Hope. It's so lovely to see you here.
Hi, Hope.
So I've been paying attention to things across different like communities, and I feel like this is kind of redundant. We often talk about like how shitty people treat one another, and how low can somebody go, or who's going too far versus somebody else, and I just feel like it's gotten substantially worse. Hi, Donnie. That in certain communities, it's almost like become like, oh, I'm going to use doxing just as one example, but there's more. Oh, you doxed me, so now I'm going to dox you and, go scorched earth, like because you hurt me worse than I could possibly hurt you, so now I have to hurt you more. There's a really good clip channel that posted a community post.
Yep.
The channels don't know you didn't. Yeah, and yeah, if you could. They had a really great community post, and like it just kind of lit a fire under my butt, so to speak, when I read it. And I was like, you know what, this is a really good topic. We should talk about it and I just want to get feedback on and what people think, especially across like different places, because it's not just like in Krama, which is where like a lot of us kind of hang sometimes, or the drama community, or the true crime Krama drama.
Let me just close a couple things I have open.
Yep, do what you gotta do.
Okay.
It's happening in like the troll community or the frauditor community or the 1A or whatever you want to call them. They're kind of doing the same thing. Yeah, Christmas brings, you are so right. It is definitely the holidays. And I think I have a theory.
Yes.
And it just has to be stress, right? So like if your personal life is in chaos and the holidays are stressful and chaos is subjective. I mean, it could be completely different for all of us, right? So what I might be interpreting as chaos in my personal life may be completely normal or manageable for somebody else and vice versa. So we already know that people will take to the internet to kind of like let their frustrations out, and they take it out on complete strangers because they think there's no consequences.
Right. I'm cracking up at Heather. I'm mean, but my mean never lasts over about 3 weeks. Then I'm ready to go back to regular friendship. I did. It's in the backstage. If you want to share that community post, and we can give a shout out to the channel.
Oh yeah, for sure. Hold on. I think I'm gonna just try to do this right.
Okay. Let me know if you guys need me to make that a little bit bigger to read. I'm sure I do on phones, and I can scroll as well.
Can you make it a hair bigger and then I'll read it?
Yep, of course.
Just a hair bigger, or can I? Yeah, because I don't think I can zoom. Oh,
how's
I can
that?
Full screen. Do what you just did. Did I just undo it?
Yep.
Yep, perfect. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm sorry. I'm tapping the screen and I'm thinking, okay. So this was from, oh, no, you didn't. It's a clip channel from about 20 hours ago. I'm just going to, can you scroll?
Yep.
Okay, so I just want to make sure. This community is getting worse every single day. So if this channel disappears one day, it's merely because I can't take watching people absolutely destroy each other. On this channel, I take words that are spoken on YouTube to show the hypocrisy and double standards that I observe. I do not discuss people's health problems, past abuse, careers, home situations, looks, addictions, or families. I'm starting to wonder how many sociopaths are actually in our community, because some of you show absolutely zero empathy towards others. We do not get to decide what another person's traumas are. And that's really what kind of like stuck with me when I read it. So we do not get to decide what is hurtful to another person. We do not get to rewrite history just because it fits our hate-filled rhetoric. We are not the authors of other people's book, even if we gave them the ink to write it.
That's beautiful.
When you go to make that disgusting joke about someone else,
Oops, sorry.
That's okay. That's fine. Stop a second and think how you would feel if that was your child being made fun of, your mother being called horrific sexual names, your brother's private pics being exposed to the entire internet for all to see. How would that make you feel? If it's not a pleasant feeling, then stop. I don't understand this attitude of they did it to me. Okay, be better, do better, hold yourself to a higher standard, talk shit all you want, but don't go at someone's past traumas, for fuck's sakes. You weren't there. You don't know. I've been through some things, and I used to carry this chip on my shoulder and get angry if I heard people complaining about small problems because I had so many big problems. I now finally understand that just because something sounds insignificant to me doesn't make it insignificant to that person. We all see life through a different lens, depending on what we've been through, how we are raised, and what we have learned. We should have some degree of compassion for all. I've never seen people find so much delight in inflicting pain on others. Showing contradictions using someone's own words is one thing. Trying to destroy someone's happiness and character is another. Pain is pain. If you feel satisfaction and joy from causing another's pain, then there's truly a problem. And then there's like a quote, someone who drowns in 7 feet of water is just as dead as someone who drowns in 20 feet of water. Stop comparing traumas. Stop belittling your or anyone else's trauma because it wasn't as bad as someone else's. This isn't a competition. We all deserve support and recovery. Now, here's the thing. Hey, Meow. Sorry, I don't know if I'm
No, it's
order high a little bit. So this was so good because the drowning, like that phrase, like someone drowning in 7 feet of water versus 20 feet of water, what does it matter? They're both dead, right? It's so important. We saw this. This brings me, and it's not because it has anything to do with water, but it kind of brings me back to the hurricane thing with Tonic. Like it doesn't matter, like the stupid little details about the actual storm and whatever happened. Like there's some things that remain constant, and it was traumatic. And there was, fear and fear of the unknown and not knowing if he was okay and him not knowing if he was going to be okay. So like, that's the important part, not like the water line or the, where the chair was placed on the roof and all this other stupid minutia that became like the center of attention when it should have been more about like, great, he's okay, move on.
Yes.
But instead, it became about every little detail and picking it apart because maybe somebody else was in a hurricane and they didn't have the same experience, It's just incredibly frustrating. So this really, caught my attention. That's just one example. I mean, we're seeing it on Krama, so not just to use like the Tonic example, we're seeing it on Krama with what's going on between like the DeLorean and Granny's Watching and Natasha Cooper and that crew, like, and then of course she had Lycan into it, and it's a whole big thing about like who can or
whose doxing is worse.
Yeah, whose bad behavior is worse, right? So whether it's doxing, whether it's gosh, I never thought I would see so many naked, or not me personally see, but hear talk of so many people's nudes and private videos and private moments that I cannot believe it. It's not just those people. This is happening other places. Like, that's just, you guys may know what I'm talking about because it's one specific example, but it's happening in other places. Like, it's not just in Krama. It's just really, really frustrating.
Right.
It's cruel. It's, I'm just wanting to talk about it. I know I'm not going to be able to ever, none of us singly as one person is ever going to be able to fix anything, right? It's when
Right.
enough people, but it has to be enough people. I feel like when we do live streams like this, okay, so
Mhm.
there's 10 people here, maybe 11, unless there was the entire community here, both communities, all communities, everywhere I hang out, agreeing that, okay, enough is enough. Like,
Right.
stop right here,
And
stop dead in your tracks. Not one more thing said. It'll never happen, unfortunately.
so this is what you know, I see across multiple communities, right? Everyone says, you know, when is it going to stop? We need to make it stop. You know, we all need to be better. It's, you know, we need to make sure our subscribers and our members, you know, do better. The thing is, that's just all words, right? It's just throwing words out there to make ourselves look good, right? We
Yeah.
sound good, but then we don't do anything about it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
This the old
Yeah.
saying, actions speak louder than words, right? Actions speak louder than words. People don't
Absolutely.
the it is very subscriber driven. It is oof,
Very just subscriber driven.
yeah.
And here's the thing. Well, and I'll come back to what Lakin said in a minute. There is definitely okay. I know I've said this before. I know that me and you, Jen, I think it was even on your panel a while ago. I
Mhm.
know that Hope and myself have talked about it when we've done panels on oh God, she'll say it in the chat, the parasocial relationships and things like that, and hypocrisy. We did one on
Hive
hypocrisy
mind.
and virtue signaling and stuff. Hive mind, yeah, that kind of stuff. We've talked
Mhm.
about the subscriber involvement, right? So there is an amount of hold on, I don't want to pour me out, keep her comment up there like that. There is an amount, and I will attest to this because I participate in it, in what we used to call, or what we have called in the past, it wasn't that long ago, but like drama light, right? Or diet
Yes.
drama.
Yep.
Or you can talk shit. You can look at, this was a great example in the Oh No You Didn't channel where you're like taking things that happen on YouTube, bringing attention to it. You can make jokes about it. You can laugh about it because it's happening on YouTube. It's not happening in somebody's bedroom. It's not happening in somebody's, therapy session or when they're meeting with their family attorney. Like, this is stuff people purposely put onto YouTube for a reaction. So that's
Right.
what we should be. If you want to do the drama, you want to do the shit talking, you should be able to keep it to what we see on YouTube. Now,
Right.
I wanted to just comment on what Lakin said. I just have to find it. It's not hard to miss. Wait,
I
did it
like
go
it.
away? Oh no, here it is.
No
Okay,
borders.
it's not High Without Borders. Okay, it's not going to stop because they don't want it to stop because because it lines their fucking pockets. So that's what we come into, right? So as much
Yep.
as anybody sits up here and talks about it, I guess I can't speak from a place of I'm not bringing in $1,000 a live stream because I'm destroying somebody. So
Same.
if it's become your living, I guess, then that's going to be the only way to make that stop, right?
Right.
That is when the subscribers have to step up and
Right.
say, okay, we're not going to contribute to this. But people get a kick out of it, I guess. I don't know. I
They
will
really
turn
do.
off a live stream. If I am seeing, like, I will go on a stream, I'll comment, but once I see things that I don't feel comfortable with, that really makes me feel uncomfortable, I leave,
Yep.
right? I could comment, I could say, hi, everybody, but that doesn't mean I was there for the whole thing, and I'm certainly not going to participate in something that makes me feel uncomfortable. Now, that being said, that doesn't mean I'm never going to go back and watch that person again because
Right.
they may cover things that I really enjoy, right?
Of course. Of
So
course.
that should be how we all behave, because even if we have a creator that does really shitty stuff sometimes, but maybe does some good stuff, well, people stop participating in the shitty stuff, it would stop. So it is subscriber driven, like you said, because
Yes.
they're one person, we're the majority, the subscribers are the majority. So if
Correct.
we stop contributing, then it would stop.
Right. Right.
But there's like Mia said, like, in that moment you feel so bad, like, or you feel so angry, excuse me, that
Mhm.
I get it. When something's done to you, you feel so angry, you want to react, you want to respond, you want to hit back, right?
Right.
But this is a good example, like what she said, but she can at least look back at it and go, yeah, we were both hurt, we both felt shitty, and whatever the retaliation was, I don't know, but I'm just assuming that, I was like, I wouldn't go that far again if she did anything. I don't know. And hopefully
Sure.
the person that did that to her, would feel the same way. That's okay. That's human nature. People make mistakes. But if you're not learning from them, then you're not evolving.
Right. Right. Well, okay. So I'll use this example. I was holding a panel, and you're familiar with Glenn, Jackrabbit Glenn. He'll pop up on panels once in a while. Well, he hopped up on my panel.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I mean, we were a completely different topic, and and it's nothing wrong that he did, but he hopped up to let me know that another creator was restreaming me, and I was like, it's okay, it's all right. But he was adamant that I let him know, so I could go yell at this other creator, and it's okay, and I didn't hear anything negative after the fact, so I'm assuming that nobody in chat went and made a big deal about it. So we as creators have to kind of lead by example, right? But at the end of the day, drama sells.
Right? Of course.
Everybody likes to watch a shit show.
Absolutely. And
that's what it is. So, sorry, go ahead.
1 second. No. I was just going to say, and that's why, like, I kind of want to be clear that that's why I kind of led with, like, there's a certain amount of drama, and this can be my opinion, and I think because we've had the conversation, I don't want to speak for you, but I think we have similar ideas that, because there's a way to do drama and cover, like, if you think somebody's a shitty human on YouTube, you can cover their behavior on YouTube and point out what's wrong with it, because we actually have been talking about something like this to do in the future, but about behaviors on YouTube without ever mentioning their spouse, their job, their children, their ability to parent, their, private past indiscretions or mistakes that they never brought to YouTube that people found from digging. There is a way to do that. But I think, what I think it is? We are so desensitized. Like, we are so desensitized that we want to see, and I'm speaking as like a whole, like we want it to be as nasty as it can get because we're desensitized, right? We're not talking about the person and their behaviors on YouTube maybe just isn't enough for some, but that's not giving them what they want, that they have to go further and further and further.
Yeah, absolutely. I've finally in the last couple of weeks caught up on all the shenanigans going on in Krama, right, in the Krama community, because I hadn't been over there in a while, and it's more the same, just amplified. We'll use Granny's Watching as an example. She was recently doxxed. I do remember the original, the first time, with the same dox, but then she was doxxed again, and it was a big deal, right? And then last night, Natasha Cooper's daughter, right, pregnant daughter, was doxxed, and she said, and she specifically asked, "Where's all the outrage that Jessica Lynn got?" Because she calls her Jessica Lynn. Where's all that outrage? To her, wait, what is this? Sorry. Anyway, I was reading Lincoln's thing about excuse me, ow. Sorry. Me and my squirrel brain. I look at Hope, help me out here. I gotta focus. Anyway, it's a big deal to we go to someone drowns in 7 feet of water, right? And someone drowns in 20 feet of water. One creator was so worried she scooped up her family and went to a hotel. Another creator got angry and just tore everybody a new one, right? So everybody reacts differently, I guess. And I'm not saying one dox is any worse than the other. It's shitty in both cases.
Absolutely. And what's your opinion on this? Because I may have the unpopular opinion, but I'm going to ask what your opinion is. And you may have shared this with me, and if you haven't, I forgot. I apologize.
Okay.
Do you think a person can be doxxed more than once?
So I go back and forth on that because new people are continually coming in, right? New people,
Exactly. That was going to be my defense.
right? New people come in all the time. They may not have known, but now they do. And listen, we all know there are creepers out there on the internet, right? That's what we were taught. We grew up with the internet being invented,
Yeah.
right? And we were taught right away that there's some really creepy people, and you and I have seen some whoo we've seen some things. We've seen some things. I'm focusing. I'm good now. That's why I always joke that Karma is like the pearl clutching drama.
Well, it is because it's like hold on one second.
No problem.
Yeah, if you can hear me, your mic's on. I mean, your camera's on. I know it's you. You don't have to. Do you want me to let you up?
Woot.
With your camera? You look beautiful, but I just didn't know. Okay, there we go. Okay, you're good. You're good. You're a booby. You're a blank booby.
Oh, I was like, what? My boob?
Hey, girl. Yeah,
your boob's out. Your boob's out.
Oh, no. I better put that away.
Your avatar is one of those white
your nipple
circles. Yeah, with a nipple.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, like boob.
Mine's been. That's how a lot of live streams that I've been watching. A lot of the people up on panel look like that for me now. So I don't know if it's on the user, like the viewer side, or the person going up side. I'm not quite sure where the issue is, but it happens all the time.
I don't know. I'll turn my cam on for a second so people can see it.
Hey, girl!
Oh, so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Well, I don't come on panels that often, but I just wanted to participate.
Well, you're good, Meow. You're somebody that kind of bounces, like you see not just one maybe community, you see things that kind of happen in different areas of YouTube as well. And it's not, what we're talking about today is not isolated to just, let's say, trauma or true crime or even the drama community. It is happening in the frauditor community. I made a community post. Well, that's a whole nother thing. I'll talk about that afterwards. Never mind. I don't even want to get into that right now. About the troll mafia and Chili DeCastro stuff. But that's just an example of things going too far, right? So that's an example of that. But Meow's beautiful. Yes, she is.
Oh, thanks. I'm gonna turn it off though because one of my kids.
Because we're overwhelmed by your beauty. Yes, please turn your camera off. It's too distracting.
Okay, but I mean, it's just to me, it's just the one thing that bugs me the most is hypocrisy, and it's like, how can you be so mad over this person? And I know this, I'm preaching to the choir here, but it's like, how can you be so mad over one person when you've done it a million times before and vice versa? You know what I mean? It's like, it's so fake. Like Natasha getting so pissed off. Like, you've done it so much worse. So I have no sympathy. Right. I'm sorry.
Right.
So that's a good example because she's obviously a hot topic, right? And there's been channels dedicated to hating on Natasha. So here's the thing about Natasha that I find interesting. In my opinion, now this is probably going to get me some backlash. As of, today, what's today? November 19th, November 18th, 19th?
20th.
2022. It's the 20th already?
Yeah. I know. I know.
Yes. Nobody at this point, I think, is worse than the other or better than the other in that community.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think Natasha has done anything more than anybody else at this point has done to Natasha. And so what I'm saying is they're all equally guilty. I said the same thing about what was happening with TT and DeLorean. The DeLorean. But here's what happens. We're not seeing these events. Like, you got to have a good memory or pay close attention because we're not watching these people committing the same acts simultaneously, right? One did something months ago. The other one's doing it now. Somebody did something whenever. So the point is that they're all equally bad. So until somebody can take a step back and go, okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm waving the white flag. No more. It's just going to keep going. sit down, if I sat down with a piece of paper and a pen and made columns on each person in the last year and a half, or even longer probably at this point, or the people that I've watched or the channels I go to on YouTube, I can think of some pretty shitty stuff everybody's done. You know,
Yes.
so
Right.
so the hypocrisy is spot on, right? It's the selective outrage, the hypocrisy, the pearl
Right.
clutching, the double standards. It applies across the board. And I think the sooner that people say, yeah, you're right, you know, then the people engaging in it, I mean.
And I'm not gonna lie. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but
No, you're not. Go ahead.
In terms of Natasha's thing, like, oh, I just got a notification she's going live, but I have like so many doubts about that whole situation, especially because her, like, take away her daughter part. Her sister happens to text her when she's in the middle of a live and say, hey, guess
she
what?
lies.
Oh,
Yes.
I know. Someone's stalking
Yes.
me from Pennsylvania and they drove by your house, you know, and this happened like 2 nights. Like, that is so fake. And she's like, shit, you know, and she's like, I'm
Yeah.
just like, oh,
Yeah.
come
And
on,
then
we were
laughing
born
and-
yesterday. Exactly. And so
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just
Yucking it up.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's
I think
gross,
she,
too.
yeah. Listen, I don't think that she exaggerates. Excuse me, let me reword that. She exaggerates and probably lies about certain things, but so do a lot of other people. That's the whole point. They're all liars and they all exaggerate and they all do really, really terrible stuff. Like, there's just, okay, fine. Like, again, if it stayed YouTube surface, I really wouldn't care as much. But when it starts going into, like, so I'm going to use an example of something that's been kind of on my mind since I watched it play out. Hi, Kikalani. With the, this is specific to the DeLorean. So I'm going to choose my words very carefully because I don't want to say anything that I don't feel comfortable even talking about. But she had said that there was people involving themselves in something very personal of hers, okay? And people called her crazy. People said she was, you know, conspiracy theorist and that, like, she was out of her mind and this was all made up. And guess what? Doesn't matter how much later it happened, but it happened. And the proof was put out that there were individuals, maybe not to the extreme she originally thought or said, but there were people involving themselves in something that should never have been even addressed on YouTube, never mind YouTube people involving themselves. So the point I'm trying to make is there is people going way too far, like doing crazy, shitty stuff to people's private lives and involving themselves. So that's why it's kind of hard to, at least for me, to kind of say, I mean, yeah, there are people lying about what they're experiencing. They're probably exaggerating. There has to be, I'm pretty certain there's some sliver of truth in there somewhere, but there's just all of this piled on BS. And yes, like, and I agree. I don't think she's alone targeted, but I do think, let me put it this way. From what I have seen, and I'm not part of their original community, I know nothing about it. What I have seen from my time around is that, yes, I think she has been used as a villain or something. I don't know, painted this picture of, but I do think that people that she is battling with are equally as terrible. But for whatever reason, the same picture has not been painted. Like, it's equally terrible as far as in behaviors, not as a person. I shouldn't say that.
Right.
I meant like the behaviors, the shit that's done. It's all this stuff behind the scenes. Oh my God, we've been hearing behind the scenes since freaking Michael Long Facebook groups. Like,
oh my gosh, yeah.
But it doesn't change, right?
Yes, exactly.
And Lycan's getting death threats, for Christ's sakes. I mean, come on.
I have seen what Lycan, like, that, I guess it's that one guy, does to him. I mean, this is stuff that if it were done to any of these other individuals, people would shit.
Yes, they would.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And
I
he
have
doesn't
seen
like sit up there.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm glad you said that, because even kind of watching from other communities, okay, the stuff that I watched, that, don't get me wrong, it's terrible that happens. If there was a person, like, how do I say it, Jen? I think you know what I'm getting at. Like, if the people from the Krama community ever took a visit over to some other communities and saw what these people were doing, like, they would leave YouTube.
I know. Here's the thing. I don't even want to advertise it because I don't want them over there.
No. Yeah, no. I know.
Muddying the waters over there, you know?
Yeah. And I know. But it's also comes down to where you have certain people that have a real problem with words on the internet. So like there's a difference between death threats and then like the words on the internet that I tend to come out and be like, that's somebody's allowed to say that because that's why we have free speech. And then I don't want to hear about the government versus the public sector, because when you're starting to involve, like, let's say, when you're getting restraining orders and HROs and stuff on people because you don't like their words on the internet, well, guess what? You're involving the government. You're using the government to silence somebody because you don't like their words.
We're seeing that more and more, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And,
so there's a difference, though. Death threats and threats of harm and, you know, threatening people's children or their homes or their livelihood is completely different than me saying, oh, I didn't like your karaoke singing, or I think you're fat, which is horrible. I would never say that to anybody, but some people do, you know, or you're ugly, or you're lying about your coverage of this particular missing kid or whatever. There's a big difference.
Yes. Yeah. And yeah, like good idea. Good. Stay where you're at, dude. You're doing amazing over here. I do have to say there was a moment in time where abandoned ship, but no, you've really grown over in Krama, and I'm glad to see it. See, I admitted to complaining about first world problems.
Well, yeah, I mean, I complain about first world problems too. That's not bad. Like I would much rather than us telling people that we're going to, you know, get a restraining order on them because they said I was, you know, ugly or because I called them an asshole, or, you know, striking channels for things. Like, I don't know. It's just, it goes too far and then it's going to snowball, right?
I also wish, like, all these, I just said this in Lycan's chat, but all these people are like doing these, let's not dox, we need to be better as a community, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And here's the thing. Yes, of course, like, please don't dox, but that's not, people are still going to do it, whether, you know, we all say not to do it or not. So I think the focus needs to be more on, okay, well, how, and you know, if you've already been doxxed, it's kind of hard to go backwards, but for everyone else, how to keep your personal life private. Like I was saying before, Natasha Cooper has her entire Facebook open, her friends list open, pictures, you know, whatever. And then other people I've seen crying about such and such child being doxxed. You can find their child on their Twitter, on their IG. Like, it's like, I'm not saying, okay, that makes it okay, but I'm just saying, how much can I believe you when you're so upset about your privacy being like compromised a little bit on YouTube, but it's all over these other social media platforms. So I wish people would just get smarter about it.
That's a really, really good point. And I think, Jen, you might have did a panel on this a long time ago about internet safety, or we talked about it amongst children. I forget. I think it was with Finding Hope. You guys also talked about like other stuff that was happening on Twitter, but that kind of evolved into talking about the safety and how to protect yourself. And I think that's a great point. I do want to.
Programs. Yes.
Yes. I'm sorry. I muted myself because I just kept interrupting you. There was.
Hold on. Can I send that to Hope? Hold on, Hope. The link. I want to talk to Hope.
Yeah. I did. I sent it to her.
Oh.
I sent it to her before. Yeah.
I feel so naked without my picture up here. And I'm just a boom.
Hey, listen, we might get a second one up here, so we'll have a pair.
Okay.
Yeah, pair of boobies. So the other thing was about this. So I'm going to use myself as an example. There was a time where I didn't know, like I was just kind of coming around YouTube more and more, but more in the live stream setting, whereas previously I was more in the beauty community, so it was a lot of pre-recorded stuff, and that was like a lot of Facebook stuff. Whereas when I started to come more where there was like these live streaming and people interacting in real time, hey Taco, I did not know about, like I didn't know about a lot of this stuff, and I didn't know that I needed to go in and lock down my Facebook or my, you know, whatever. I eventually did, trust me, but you know, changed my name and everything. But the a big part of it was not because like it was because the damage was already done, basically. You know, I didn't know that I had maybe shared a little too much in some places that I didn't realize
Right.
people were going to weaponize that information, right? So unfortunately, I had to learn maybe the hard way a little bit. But I think at this point, unless you're brand new to this community or another community or whatever community, there's no
Any
excuse.
community.
Any
But-
community. But if you've been around, then you know better. You know
Right.
better.
Well, but here's the thing, even people that think that they're private might not be as private as they think, because I mean, I thought I like secured everything on my Facebook, but then I realized a few photos were still going public and you could see who likes them. And if you know my last name or my maiden last name, you could see, oh, someone with her last name liked it, and figure out, oh, that's my mom or my brother. You know, it's like people need to, and I'm not blaming the people that are just trying to be social media users. And, you know, it's not victim shaming. I'm just saying, like, instead of like crying about doxing, because it will happen, because people are lowlifes in many ways, it's like, okay, how about we focus more on how can we get smarter about this, you know?
Right. Sorry, I'm laughing at the settlement.
Oh,
hey, Brett.
Is Kibitz, can I ask, is that
Hey,
like
Brett.
a Yiddish, is that a Yiddish word?
Kibitz. Oh, Brett, I'm so sorry. Yes, it's Yiddish for gossip or to chat or to like kibitz, just to talk, and it's a kiki.
Kibitz,
It's
okay,
a chit
sorry.
chat. Yeah,
Like it
Yes, it's
probably
Yiddish.
knows it.
it's one of my favorite Yiddish words. I have a few. I have kibitz. I have chutzpah. I have what do I use when it's like a mess? Kerfuffle.
Kerfuffle, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a
You
big
know
one.
what?
Live chat reminder.
A
Live
word that
chat reminder. Hold
a
on.
word that I've learned from my you know, I married a Midwestern guy, and they say cattywampus, which is like my favorite.
Ooh.
Like if
I
something's
got
like
it, Taco.
askew, like your room is a mess, it's cattywampus. If something's
Oh, I
sideways,
might have to borrow that.
it's like my
Cattywampus.
favorite. Cattywampus.
That is a good adjective.
I love it. That, and what's another one that they say? Oofta.
Oh, that's a good one too.
That's like,
Jewish.
yeah, South Dakota, Minnesota, where you have a lot of like Scandinavian
And by the way,
heritage.
I just want to add, because I'm sure somebody somewhere will say it. Yes, I'm a culture vulture because I'm not Jewish, but I use a lot of Jewish words, or I should
see, yeah,
say
Wisconsin.
Yiddish, more from the Jewish community. But I am not Jewish.
Oh, well, you're from, I won't dox your state, but an area that has a higher concentration of people.
Jewish people, yeah,
Yes,
especially
versus-
like yes, where I am at in particular, yes. So you
Yes.
kind of end up just people you're around, you know, you end up picking
You
up things.
are
But
such an
I,
appropriator.
yes, I know. I was like, oh, so before I know it, somebody will. That's what I'll be called, a culture vulture appropriator. I'll be, you know, misusing something. Cattywampus is a good term. That's
Yes.
become my new
But-
fave. Hey, Dallas.
I also
Um,
can't stand a few phrases like heavens to Betsy and things like that. I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like,
Heavens to Betsy. Yeah, that's
Like
good.
my-
We should do a panel on that.
I know. Well, I also, my in-laws are not just like Midwestern. They're like very, very like goody two-shoe Midwestern. So they never cuss. They say things like, oh golly gee, and they're like the Flanders in real life from The Simpsons. So like,
Oh man, that is good. We should definitely. We need to
funny.
do a panel about like terminology, phrases, catchphrases, and stuff that are around the country that are used, and
right.
have people try to decipher what they mean.
Auddie, real quick, could you here? Let me take this off. Could you highlight Heather's comment?
Sure.
That's a good point.
Devil's advocate here. Some people want to be mean under the safety of anonymity, but the moment their true identity is known, they scream that they are now the victim. Oh yes, I agree. Of course.
Absolutely.
Oh,
That's a very
there's a
good
way
point.
to, yes, you could take, there are some people that are just so good at being a victim that even when they're the perpetrator, they somehow make themselves look like a victim. So there's definitely a lot of that. That's a skill.
No,
I
come on.
personally,
Sorry. Just be respectful.
I don't block anybody. I haven't blocked anything. I don't know what you're talking about.
No,
Mr.
it's
Psyop.
Just a couple of-
I'm not a wrench, so I didn't block anything.
We don't get our
Sheesh.
feelings
But I
hurt.
will if you're going to come in here and be a fucker.
Quick private chat.
Hi, Tate. Hold on. I got to see
Tate,
what's
hey,
Hey,
haven't seen
Tate.
you in a minute. The Midwest is nice. People are very nice, but it is so cold. Like, I mean, it's cold where I live too, which is like Midwest adjacent, but and it's really hot and humid in the winter. The weather's just terrible, at least in most of it. But people are very nice somehow
Okay.
with the crappy
Nope.
weather.
Yeah, there are certain places that you go in the country where I do think people are genuinely a little more courteous. That are thank you, Hope. That are just more courteous. They're more patient because I think life maybe operates at a different pace than in other parts of the country where everybody's so rushed all the time. So I think that does have an effect on sometimes personalities, maybe a little bit. But you know, I just kind of it doesn't change the fact that there are people. Hold on a second. I gotta take care of something.
No problem.
Hold on, guys. Take over.
Yep, no problem. I'm just finishing up some comment and chat real quick. Real quick, excuse me. How's it going with Pastor Lycan?
How's it going? He's
has
great.
he been blessing people throughout the community?
Absolutely. He's spreading, the word of the Lord and, really bringing people, despite being Jewish, I feel so much closer to Christ with, from Lycan's teachings.
I love it. I love it. Oh my God. The whole Pastor Lycan thing just cracked me. Where the hell is my mouse? There it is.
Well, and that's what I can appreciate is I feel like he and other people do this great too. It's like when people are sending you insults and just being real nasty on you, just kind of taking it and turning it into a joke. Like,
yes.
The Manson brother thing. They're saying the women that are going Lycan's channel are Manson followers, and I was like, yes, of course. I support. Like, of course, I don't support someone like Manson. It's just so preposterous. So in that case, you just turn it into a joke, and then it pisses them off more.
Well, and it takes the power.
Absolutely, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that Manson stuff was hysterical. I know everybody interpreted that maybe a little differently. I also found it hysterical because I was just like, oh my God. And I'm going to use Lycan now as an example, just very quickly, because I know that he's a polarizing character, right? So I'm going to use this, but I'm going to use something as an example. I have heard, certain things that Lycan has said on panels that people maybe have found abhorrent for whatever reason, or they disagreed with. But then I have heard people in other people's camps say almost the same exact thing and not get called out. Maybe the person didn't agree with it, but they certainly didn't call it out or make a big stink or walk away or, make it a point to, make sure everybody knows how much of a horrible person this is. When the verbiage was almost exactly the same. And again, we're talking about words, not acts.
Right.
That might have got cut off. Yeah, we're talking about words. I'm not talking about people's actions that have done horrible stuff. I'm talking about words. So, it's crazy. It's a crazy phenomena, I guess, that's happens. But I really think in the end, it's going to come down to like what you said, Meow, about people learning maybe to protect if we're specifically talking about doxing, to protect their privacy and protect themselves a little better. But I didn't ask, you weren't up here when I asked this question about, do you think a person can be doxed more than once?
Oh, I definitely do. I mean, I don't know how you could logically justify and say it can only be once because let's say I dox you to a stadium full of, 50,000 people. But then I go to a stadium across the country and dox you to a stadium full of 50,000 new people. Like,
exactly.
I think it's more like maybe once your anonymity, that is a hard word to say, anonymity can only be maybe compromised once-ish. Like, it'll get around.
Great point.
But in terms of doxing, and plus you never know like what new information, like in one stream, you might be doxed with just your name and then someone puts your parents' name in the next one. And, your address, your birthday, your whatever, your
Or
job.
your kids go to school.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like a snowball. So, yeah, no,
You know,
I've
that's
never
a great
agreed
point.
with that.
Distinguishing the difference between, oh, this is a good question. The difference, or whatever I want to call a statement, the difference between anonymity on social media, meaning I am here as, Bluebird with a Bluebird avatar, versus people finding out who I am, versus a complete dox on a person's, private life, private info, private, everything, right?
Yeah.
So there is a difference. I mean, I know it's some people, both are not good, right? If somebody wants to be anonymous, but I think to a certain degree, again, Heather, it kind of goes back to Heather's point earlier about, how much protection should somebody that's doing really terrible shit get
Right.
because they want to be anonymous? So that's where
Right.
there's like,
Oh,
yeah,
I
the
agree.
lines are blurred.
There's
The lines are
someone,
blurred.
I won't say their name. Some people might know who I'm talking about, but I've had an opinion on this person for a while. I think she's a total shit stirrer, but she will just be so nasty to everybody and post on her channel, like, people's pictures and all this stuff, and just be a real creep. And then if someone claps back at her, she's just like absolutely appalled and, privacy striking you and all this stuff. I'm like, I can't feel sorry for you either, because part of it, being anonymous isn't like some like special status given to you, right? It's like, okay, you're trying, and she's not quite anonymous, but you can't, if I don't want to say expect what you give out, because it's more complicated than that, but I can't feel sorry if it's some innocent person that, maybe they talk some shit, but they don't go below the belt, post other pictures, make like a big old mess of things. Then I feel more sorry if you're a well-behaving creator versus a kind of, nasty, mischievous creator, if you will. So
Yep, I agree. There is definitely got to be some, like we say, I mean, I guess it's okay. I am okay with like there being
Lyca knows who I'm talking about.
things being things being situational, right? Or looking at each case individually, right? Especially when you're dealing with like a smaller community and stuff. You can look at each case or each action or each event based on the circumstances surrounding it. I highlighted Pam's comment because the truthy stuff is kind of an interesting phenomena, maybe. I think when we're talking about predators, sexual deviants, sex offenders, people that pose a risk to the community at whole, to YouTube at whole, because there's, just because they're maybe doing one thing in this community doesn't mean they're not somewhere else where children are and stuff like that. So yes, I think there are circumstances that when we're dealing with people that are true shitbags, criminals in the sense of like child, people that hurt children or have hurt children.
And there's a whole community for that. There's a whole community for that. Now, in that, I don't know all the ins and outs of that, because that was right before I got here. But okay, so if I was just coming in and not knowing the backstory of that, yes, I guess it was a good thing, right? And don't take it the wrong way, folks. I'm using it as an example. It was a good thing he was doxxed in that it brought awareness to who that person was. However, I would say it's few and far between that you're going to end up doxing somebody who is an actual predator, right? It could be a random school teacher, right? Or a banker, or, I mean, the odds of you doxing a child predator and letting, other communities handle that situation, it's so few and far between. I know.
And like you said, it runs the risk of, I mean, there's too many opposite, right? There's more of the innocent people, I think, than the chances of you getting somebody like him.
And we also need to stop throwing out so easily words like, the PED.
Oh God,
word.
You can say it here. I'm not monetized, and nobody's gonna
quit calling people pedos or pedo sympathizers or
rapists,
rape apologists, things like that. That's just, I mean, first of all, you're diluting the meaning of it if you're just using it as like, I don't like you, I'm going to call you this. Secondly, you're putting people in real danger, because there are predator hunters and people that like
Absolutely.
will go like that's like their mission. That's what they do. They do try to like go real life, and
they literally show up at your door.
Right. And I mean, I don't think that's acceptable even for people that maybe it's more true for than others, because that's not how our justice system works. But regardless, you can't, and the word abusive, I'm so sick of as well, because abuse, how can you be abusive to someone that you don't even really have a relationship with? Like if I yell at you and say, Auddie, I think you're a total, you know, bitch. I have a child that just walked in the room, but you know what I mean?
Sorry,
am I abusing you or am I just insulting you? Right?
Exactly. Oh, I agree. It's overused. It's weaponized. You know, telling.
Oh, thanks, Lycan. I think you're talking about
me.
Yeah, he is.
You know, there's like a
truther,
a whole truther community, right? So like the truthers are there to kind of, I guess, like expose or whatever. I'm sure that it goes deeper than that. Hope I sent it. You didn't get it? Hold on. I'll send it again. Hold on.
Okay.
There's the whole okay, hopefully that worked. There's the whole you know, the truther community, and a lot of that is, you know, about maybe exposing certain things, certain behaviors maybe that are exclusive to YouTube and otherwise. But what ends up happening a lot is you can get a creator who's, let's say, I'm going to expose somebody's like shenanigans, contradictions on YouTube, right? Now I do a live stream about that. Now this person says I'm abusing them, I'm harassing them, I'm stalking them, you know, and now we've kind of gone back to what you were just saying about like weaponizing those words to, which I think is to stifle, you know, free speech and things like that. But that's my opinion of it. I think that's a great example. We cannot be using the word abuse. I'm sorry, this is still the internet. And I know that a lot of people, this is where they find their solace, right? This is their interaction. It's for me at times too, that's where I can get adult interaction, have adult conversations, but you can log off. There are other things you can do outside of YouTube to get adult interaction, right? Where you may feel a little bit less, you know, sensitive. I don't know. But it is, you can turn it off. And I'm sorry, unless these people are knocking at your door, like I said, or threatening your livelihood.
Right. You know, here,
go too far.
You know, I look at all these communities and, you know, I sit back and I watch and I observe and I listen. And it is, you know, you hear the word echo chamber a lot, right? It's one of the many YouTube buzzwords that I'm so over. At the end of the day, though, it's a hodgepodge of all different kinds of personalities, right? There's people from all over the world in these chats, you know, and that all live different lives, all have different opinions and ideas and ideals, but they all have one thing in common, right? In these echo chambers they all have like hyper focused on one thing. Right. So you get echo chambers. I'm going to use you, Lycan, as an example. They hyper focus on, we hate Lycan. And here's all the reasons why we hate Lycan. Right. Nobody thinks for themselves. And that's where hive mind mentality comes into play.
Oh, gosh, that is rampant. Rampant.
In order to recognize that you're blindly following this crowd is, and as silly as it sounds, if you have, you know, a moment of clarity, say your own name out loud. And it then it tells your brain, I'm an individual. And then you can see, oh, yay, see, we got a pair.
Oh, boobies.
Yay!
Okay, I wanted to make sure there was no widgeloots coming out. Really quick, I have to say something really quick. And I don't want to interrupt your thought, but hold on. The whole time I thought I was sending Finding Hope, the link, like over and over. Yay! I was sending somebody that I work with whose name is Hope.
You know what I did? I
unsent them and I was like, I'm so sorry that wasn't for you. I hope you didn't click it.
I actually texted to her too, just in case.
Oh my God.
I was like, I'm
sorry.
not getting it. I'm not getting it.
What happened?
She dropped. She'll be back. I think she got some things happening at home. She'll come back up.
Okay.
I didn't kick her, I promise. She dropped.
Hey, Hemi, I haven't seen you in quite a bit. It's good to see
Hey,
you.
Hemi. But kind of to piggyback on like the hive mind stuff and what Meow was saying about Lycan, but we've seen it other places too. I figured you kicked yourself, Meow. We've seen it happen in Natasha Cooper and her circle of people, where
Big
you know
time.
whoever she's battling with, the entire chat suddenly turns on, and that's it. We've seen it on Granny Watching's chats. We've seen them in other bigger creators that have a bigger live chat, like where there's hundreds and hundreds of people, like whoever that the creator is at that time, whoever they're kind of dogging on or talking about, there seems to be this, whether that person had any sort of individual interaction, they suddenly, it's like this hate-filled mob, right? And they may have witnessed things they don't like, and that's fine too, of course. If you're like, well, I never liked that person because I don't like the way they do X, Y, and Z, that's fine. But when you're just completely bashing somebody or hating on somebody, but you haven't had any interaction. I mean, I find it weird. I mean, people can do what they want. I think it's strange.
The weirdest thing, I don't know if y'all were around for it, but Natasha Cooper one time came on playing a song from WOG that he had written for her. And everybody thought that she liked the song, and everybody in the chat was cheering him on. And I love this. This is so great. And then she came on and was pissed because he'd changed some words. Suddenly, the entire chat hated him.
Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't see it, but I remember you telling me about it. That's a great example. That's just another example of like how quickly. I mean, we see it all the time when people fall out on YouTube, and that's why I never, unless I personally experience something or it involves me, I really try not to take sides in certain things, because I've said it before. These people will either be best friends, they will make up in about a month, and then you're going to be left looking like an idiot because you said X, Y, and Z, or I said X, Y, and Z, or whoever said X, Y, and Z, and now you're the enemy because you don't like the new best friend. Like, it's just crazy. It's that weird YouTube dynamic that it's a strange place.
It's short-term memory at its finest. Like, I've never experienced this outside of online life. Like, they forget, Now, the one thing I have seen that's been consistent here is the people have not forgotten how angry they are at Lycan, and it's just continuous with him. And, like I said, back in the spring, I talked with, some creators and made amends with them. And I don't care what anybody says. The word support gets thrown around, but I'm going to use it. I support Lycan. I enjoy his content. Sometimes he's got people on panel that, it's just, or they're talking about something that doesn't interest me, and I'll come in and I'll say hi and then I'll bounce. Other times I'll hop up on panel with him and we'll goof off with freaking filters. I get shit for that, because I was on panel. I got an email from a creator. No lie. I had not talked with this creator since July. I got an email out of the blue. And the first sentence said, if you're going to sit up there and panel with him, then you're no friend of mine.
Wow.
What? Like,
that's crazy.
I haven't talked to you since July. I've said nothing. I've done nothing, but, and listen, people like to use the word friend a lot on here. I've said this for a long time, and I'm starting to hear other creators start to pick up on it. We're all acquainted, right? We become acquainted with one another in chats, on different panels. Oh, I just saw something.
I agree. Where nobody here actually, unless if your engagement with somebody is strictly in chat boxes and on panels, then I don't care who you are. I'm sorry, but you don't, that person is not necessarily your friend. Like, you guys get along, you may have common interests, you talk about similar things, or maybe you can have a healthy debate with one another. But that idea of friendship is just, I mean, to me, I don't know, I value friendship a little bit more than that. Like, I don't,
Right. So,
well, like I said in chat, you don't know who you're talking to. Most people don't look up everybody you talk to. So I could be talking to Gen X and she's been a sexual predator for 10 years, and I'm never going to know that.
Don't
So,
clip that.
She's not, by the way.
Do not clip that.
Oh, I can see it now.
Oh, that Gen X, you know.
That Gen X. You know what? She's a naughty one.
But you just never know. You know, people want to attack the ones that their past has been exposed, but you don't know who you're talking to who has the same thing going on.
Right. It takes a very long time to. Hey, hashtag Melissa Jade for president. It takes a very long time to build a true friendship, right, with folks, and you keep that circle very small.
Yeah.
You know.
Mm-hmm. That's why. Listen, I have learned. Also, there's another what I've learned is people can change their mind. People can be persuaded, good or bad or indifferent, to change their opinion. That's okay, as long as you're having a real experience and you're not just doing it because you're following another person. You are an adult. Yes. Change your mind if you're convinced or you want to hear what somebody's side is or their point of view. That is a good thing. We're supposed to evolve and grow, and it's okay if we have a change of heart. There's a difference between that and being Jen or Finding Hope sending me a DM and be like, listen, I hate so-and-so, effective immediately. Okay, buddy, now hate so-and-so, so let me pass it on to the next person, effective immediately. Like a bunch of crazy bots.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, I know. And I see it all the time. People change their mind too much sometimes. Just stick to your guns and it bounced. Whoa, it bounced.
I need the chat to turn on Meow because she abandoned me right as soon as I came up.
Wait,
hold on.
I'm here.
Yeah, was that you?
Yes. Do you need me to turn my camera back on?
No. I have a banner up. I forgot I could do that. It's okay. We're good.
Okay.
I'm doxing Meow.
I'm doxing my cat.
Oh, you're still a boob. There's one boob. You're still a boob, Hope.
Sorry, I wanted to dox something, so I'm doxing my cat.
Oh, I love it.
I can see it. It's not a boobie anymore. There's only one boob up here now. Sorry, Finding Hope.
It's a boob. Sorry, Hope. I seriously didn't mean to leave you. I felt like, she's gonna think I dropped down because she came up, but that wasn't it at all. I just am dumb.
It's okay. The chat can like you now. It's okay.
Okay, I'm just rusty. Kitty.
It's so funny because I used to always there was definitely a time. I don't know. I think Jen, Meow, you'd probably remember, and I know Hope would. Jen, I don't know if you were around that much then, but whenever Crime Stalker would do panels, Ella would always drop down when I went up. Always. Without fail. And I'd always be like, did you come up because I'm coming up? I think maybe, I don't know, but she said no. But every single time I would clear that panel. I guess I'm just fun to talk to. Yeah, I'm a panel killer, I guess.
No way.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It was a little bit too coincidental for me. I was she's always dropping whenever I come up.
She had me blocked for the longest time, but we're cool now. Or I didn't know we were ever not cool, but I'm unblocked, and if I don't see her much, but I'll say hi.
That was kind of just the way. I don't know. I'm not even gonna.
Well, it's funny how many people have me blocked, and I think it's just from seeing me and I don't know Likens
chat, yes,
Robbie's chats and stuff like that.
Me too.
Well, I think it's I see it a lot. There's definitely, in some of the bigger chats, I'll be like, oh, wow, I guess that person has me blocked too. But then there's other people where I'm like, oh, I'm glad that they have me blocked because I don't want to go down that rabbit hole or engage in that conversation, or get in trouble for that or say something I regret. But that's the thing too. Again, I'm coming full circle to there's certain things that are just words that we can't, we have to stop pearl clutching, so to speak, and then there's other things that go too far, right? And but we can distinguish them. They are allowed to each be their own thing. Somebody could be a shitty person because they say horrible stuff. Well, that's a big difference from somebody who's putting all your children's information out on the internet and driving by your house.
Right.
They're not equal offenders. It's just two people can simultaneously be an asshole, and it kind of brings me back to what I mentioned before with what was going on with the the DeLorean and TT and Granny and whoever else, all the back and forth. It's like, you know what? You've all done some really terrible stuff. Like nobody's innocent.
Can
And
I
you
can
both
I
can
say
actively be doing terrible stuff.
can I say something really random and
Yes.
stupid but random?
course.
Yes. Please.
So Lycan just said, if it helps, I was Richard Pryor in a previous life.
I
So
know. I was
the other night I was like, couldn't sleep. And when I can't sleep, I end up on Wikipedia sometimes, down Wikipedia rabbit holes. And I somehow ended up on Ludacris's page, the rapper. And it said that he's a distant cousin of Richard Pryor. So that's some trivia for you.
Interesting.
That's
Interesting.
The things that we do in the middle of the night.
I know, when we can't sleep.
I love Wikipedia, so that's okay. Sorry, carry
Awesome.
on. I just totally ruined the conversation.
So that was good. That was good because that was just going to derail me into talking about how I had the in my past life I was like Victorian, like one of the upper echelon in the Victorian era. Like that's what I think I was, like one of those women that had somebody tie their dress onto them and stuff, and wore like all that toxic mercury makeup. Like that's who I think I was in my past life.
Like they say like Queen Elizabeth, like the first one. Her face, like they think she died from like all the makeup she wore. Like that was part of it.
Because there was like Bailey Sarian did on Aquafina, like did a whole thing on like how she killed all these people because of the makeup or something, like what she was putting in it, like unintentionally,
like arsenic and stuff like that.
Yep. That was my my past life. I feel like that's probably where I was in the upper echelons.
That's why I don't wear makeup.
They're having a very interesting convo in chat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
All of them are making really good points. I love Golden.
Yes, bring us back. Bring us back.
Here is my unbiased assessment on you. I do think you're funny at times. You still manage to crack me up, even though I think you're a douche.
I thought it was douche. Oh wait, no, that's
who said that?
Right.
Golden.
Wait,
and then Golden. And then Melissa Jade without borders, and let's see. And perhaps having all the information correct before we react and talk. That would be, I don't know what that's about, but yes.
But I agree with that just in general because because people do. I think what happens a lot of times too is any person, right, that has a channel, that has a platform, they'll get a DM, an email, they'll see a clip of something that they don't know the context necessarily, or somebody's repeating it second or third or fourth or fifth hand, and they react immediately. And that's what kind of sets the ball in motion, right? Because then you have somebody else going, wait, whoa, that's not how it happened, defending themselves, and then here we go.
They'll get it on a live stream, and you just react, Yeah,
because you're reacting on your initial emotion without, like MJ said, without asking questions, without maybe going to the source, the person that you're pissed off with, and say, hey, wait.
She knows Golden. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
She knew.
Oh, that's no. I knew that. Oh, it's okay. No, I knew that. I was just moving on, and I was just making my ramblings, my long-winded explanation.
So X amount of words is something that I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go.
Just real quick, only because I caught myself doing this a long time ago, and that's why I stopped. X amount of words said, I regret the times I've acted on emotion and hurt someone and made a fool of myself. That was me, right? One thing I've always said is, I always say, I hate hypocrites, right? I forever. And then I came to YouTube and I realized I am a hypocrite, right? So it was, right. I mean, it's just a part of being a human being. So I stepped back. I stopped talking crap on all creators for the most part, really. There was one I was going really hard for, but
well, that's no fun. I'm just
I
know. Now listen, I mean, I can whoop it up with the best of them, but I did make a fool of myself as well, and it takes balls to get up and take accountability for it.
Absolutely. And sometimes we get it wrong. I mean, sometimes we get it wrong. We think we know something, or we thought we knew something, and we were wrong. We didn't know it, or we misunderstood it, or it was misinterpreted, or it was misrepeated.
Yeah.
Not amazing. What's amazing? Well, hashtag Melissa Jade for president.
There was something else I was just thinking about that we were talking about that I wanted to say. Oh no, never mind. Sorry,
Okay.
derail. I was going to talk about my long-windedness, and I was like, if anybody's ever had to have a voicemail from me, like leaving, I know it's 2022 and nobody leaves voicemails anymore, but I do.
I hate voicemails so much.
I know, and I know. I don't listen to them either, very rarely, but when I have to leave one, it is bad. It is
Oh,
bad. I just can't stop.
I hate leaving voicemails. But I particularly hate getting them, especially ones from like, you know, my brother and my mom. That's like, hey, just calling to say hi. And I'm like, I see that you called.
Yeah.
I'm just
Sorry,
saying, send me a text message.
I know. Anyway, I'm gonna jump down because my daughter wants me to play Barbies or something. So
oh, go have fun.
I will.
All right, I'll see you then.
I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye, Mia.
After Melissa. So
Well,
like
did you see
said,
my comment
which one?
about asking for proof?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I highlighted it.
I wanted to ask you to reiterate that again.
Yes,
It makes me so mad. Every creator is like, you subs need to ask for proof. Don't believe everything that we say. Even me, ask for proof. I've done it in two separate chats, and the response is you get picked out, yelled at, attacked by the other subs, and then blocked.
Yeah. Yep. Because it doesn't fit the current narrative going on.
And I'm like, you told me everything I need to know now.
Yep, absolutely. Now, like, and you'd said, let me scroll up a little bit.
Yeah, I think, like you said, they've told you everything you needed to know. That speaks volumes. When you can't have a conversation about addressing either accusations you're making or you're repeating something, if you can't back it up, then you shouldn't be speaking on it until you can, right? And if somebody calls you out, if the immediate response is to block that person so that they cannot question, then
right. Right.
It does.
I mean, if you're telling me that someone you hate is under this sock account saying this horrible thing, okay, you hate this person, so I need to see proof. I'm not just going to take your word, because obviously you want everybody else to hate this person, if this is what it is. So I'm not going to just listen to you and run with that. I don't do that. But then when I ask for proof and get blocked, I'm like, well, okay. There is no proof.
So let me see.
Yeah, exactly. There is no proof then. I mean, there's plenty of people that I dislike for their behaviors, but that if I ever wanted to bring that out and talk about it, I would feel pretty stupid if I didn't have examples to cite. You know what I mean? Like, to be like, this is why. Not just because, they disagree with me, or they, I mean, you can all like and dislike whoever you want, but if you're going to take to a live stream or make a video on it to try to dissuade other people, then you need to be able to back that up.
Yes, receipts is that's one thing that I learned from the Michael Long days when I first came around. Almost a year ago, I learned a very valuable lesson that receipts are everything, right? And if you're gonna accuse or say something, you better have something to back it up, because there are a lot of people out there on YouTube that are going to want it. They're going to want to see it. They're not going to take your word for it, and it's naive of us to think otherwise. It is, it's naive, and we're not doing ourselves any favor by going, okay, that happened.
I don't care if it's a creator that you love and you followed and everything they do you think is great. I don't care. Don't take in everything they say as the truth without seeing it.
Especially when we see how much misinterpretation happens. Me and Hope have talked about this a lot, where like a comment will be made in a live stream chat and we'll be like, whoa, that is not what the person meant. It's quite obvious, but the way that the creator's reading it, or the way that they're somehow maybe because they're angry or they're fired up or they're upset, they're interpreting this completely different, and there goes the snowball. And now that sub or that commenter has become, public enemy number one.
Ooh. Auddie, could you highlight Golden's comment?
Yep.
Please. Okay. So I actually tested this theory out the other day, right, with a channel. Okay. So one thing that annoys me is when creators choose to apologize conveniently at the time of hate bonding. The timing always seems suspicious to me. So I went into a chat the other day, right, that I was, I don't know, say 6 months ago, was screamed at, yelled at, and basically told to kick rocks, right? Because they were, friends with another creator that, I was supporting at the time. I went in there the other day and just made a couple of comments, and the creator acknowledged it, but you could tell it was painful to do so. But was nice about it, didn't make it a thing, right? Didn't make a scene. And I knew immediately that response was because they were hate bonding with somebody who used to support this other creator, right?
Absolutely.
And I laughed. Auddie, you knew what I was doing, and I laughed my ass off. I thought it was hysterical because it was a perfect example of hate bonding. You don't like me. I'm going to come into your chat 6 months later, say something, and you're going to acknowledge it with a freaking grimace smile on your face just because you're pissed off at that creator.
Well, I think something that does happen is creators that buddy up with someone, when one of them become mad at another, they will take that person's word and they don't go looking into everything that is negative. Like if Auddie came to me and said, oh, look, I gave you this message, or I sent this message about you to somebody a while ago. It's nothing. They're probably going to leak it. Don't worry about it. We've talked about it. And then it gets leaked and I never go watch it because Auddie told me. Auddie's my friend. And she said, don't go look at it. So then whenever we hate each other, I go back and look at those messages and see that, well, that wasn't all she said about me. So there can be like a friendship not friendship and whatever, acquaintance talking.
Yeah, it's a relationship.
Because you realize things that you were blinded to when you were in the friendship.
Absolutely. And I think that's part of like evolving and growing and learning about people, and also kind of learning to navigate like social media and how we interact with one another. I think that's going to happen, and that's, I think, human nature. But that's the difference. There's a difference between that and then, like I said, where I'm just like, okay, guys, we're hating on so-and-so, so get on the hate train and let's go, destroy that person. Let's go scorched earth and, ruin their lives. There's a difference. And there's, but I mean, the hate bonding is kind of interesting. That's another really good topic. If we really could explore that one day, because I think there's like a natural hate bonding that we do that's not intentional.
Conscious,
that you're not consciously doing it. Thank you. That like you do it because of a common, either a sentiment or agreeing on something where it's just unintentional. But then there's the hate bonding that's so blatantly ridiculous, where you see people that couldn't even stand each other 24 hours ago now buddying up to target a person. Yes, that is different. So there's definitely a difference, and to kind of explore that would be a good topic for us all to do one day. Kind of talk about and see
as well. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
When I started hanging out over in Lycans, and it was like, no, just have fun over here. It has nothing to do with it's because I hate that person. I don't hate anybody on here, right? Hate's you hear this a lot. Hate's a strong word, and that's just. A lot of us Gen Xers, that's how we were raised. That's what we were taught. Hate's a strong word. I don't hate anybody on here. I don't even think I hate anybody, in real life.
Yeah, it's a strong word. I would like to comment on Excuse Meow's comments.
Okay.
Yes. is very true. And
Yeah.
even this is that one particular person is kind of interesting
Yeah.
because I remain friends with people that when I still did not have any issues with her whatsoever, but I had friends that did, and we were able to kind of work past that. So I think that's interesting. But now this, well, we weren't going to tell everybody, but we might as well. We have best friend forever tattoos. We all went and got this past Friday. So we all have matching tattoos on our right butt cheek. We each have the first best. I have best. Well, no, we need one more word. Oh, you got the exclamation points. I have best. Hope as friends. Gen X
Meow
forever and
Forever.
Meow is forever, and Gen X has the exclamation points. So there we go.
No,
Oh,
okay,
Lord
so
have mercy.
excuse me, Al said something last week in Lycans. What was it? Excuse me, like it was my fault. You ended up with Lycan. Something to that effect. I cracked up. I guess I dragged her to hell or something. It killed me.
Yeah, she's clever. Meow's very funny in chat. She always has really good comments. All right, guys, I'm gonna have to wrap this up though. I'm sorry because CJ's just getting back, and I just know that inside and my husband and it's gonna get loud in here. So
Okay,
I am gonna wrap this up. So go ahead.
Do you want me to just give a hint as to what's to come?
Oh, sure. Yes. Go ahead. Yes.
Okay, so coming up here in the near future, looking at probably next Saturday, myself, Naughty Auddie, and Ask Your Bartender, we're starting a series on, I don't know if I want to give it away yet. On my channel, we're going to be focusing on the psyche of YouTube creators. And on Auddie's, I don't know if we've worked out all the details on that. And then we all, the ones that know and love AYB, it's going to be all the shit. It's going to be, we're going to get down and dirty on AYBs. So that's starting next Saturday on my channel. So I hope.
Let me also make sure I make it very, very clear. Oh wait, is Super Duper Flupa here?
Yeah,
my number one fan.
I know. As we're leaving.
I know, as we're leaving, it's my best
Saturday.
buddy to chat with in chat. But yeah, so just so you know, when we do this, it's a really good example of using YouTube and behaviors on social media as more than enough to talk about. We don't have to go any further than that.
Yeah, good point. Okay. All right, guys. Well, thank you for having me up. Excuse me out, and hope it was great having you up on panel as well. Check out my community post, by the way. Okay, Lycan. All right, guys. Everybody, peace out. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye. See everybody soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.
I was just ending it.